Hey, before you watch this thing, hit subscribe, would you? Quit it with the, what is it? Hold on, let me look it up. This is going to be worth it. Quit it with the avoidant attachment style. Just hit it. Don't you want me to feel good? Subscribe. Hi, everybody. My guest today is, it's...
William H. Macy.
Fucking hell. Come on, man.
I thought you had gone up.
No.
Okay.
Oh, you thought I forgot my line?
Yeah.
Listen to this resume. He did a whole bunch of Mamet plays, and then they became movies, and he was in those as well. Fargo, Academy Award nominee. Boogie Nights, Magnolia, House of Games, Seabiscuit, Pleasantville, Wild Hogs, which you have a soft spot for, you know you do. Did Shameless for 10 years.
11. Who's counting?
So who's counting? Well, he's also got a alcohol he's going to tell us all about. He's an interesting, unique guy. He's a woodsman, craftsman. Carpenter. And we have nice chemistry, I think, so far. And his name, he already told you, Bill Macy. Welcome, sir.
It's good to be here.
Now, Bill, from the outside in, it looks like things are going pretty well for you, for your life.
It's correct. They are.
Are you surprised, or did you always think it might go well?
Great question. I'm a serendipitous, as my grandmother said when I was about 5 years old.
Literally.
She said, Billy, you're a serendipitous. Do you know what that is? I said, no. She said, one to whom good things happen. I've been a lucky guy. I mean, there have been bumps in the road, and I wrote a song. I said, and my tragedies were more dramatic than true.
That's probably true for everybody, I think.
Yeah. Well, some people have
actual tragedies, but yeah, a lot of it's in our heads.
I've had my ups and downs, but I've always been optimistic and sometimes downright Pollyanna-ish. And I've loved my career. I married a great broad, got lucky there. My kids are extraordinary, 2 fabulous women. So it's all good. And I'm upright, in good health, with the exception of a few leaks here and there, and it's all good.
Was it weird to become an actor when you became an actor? Because I always think about, like, you were in Chicago, Midwest. It's not like there wasn't much of a path, right?
No, but my parents were totally behind it, and I think my parents were smart enough to know, I'm not sure he can do anything else, so let's support this. I was not a good student. They totally supported it. And I actually never looked back from about age 20 on.
You just didn't, what do you mean by that? You just didn't consider how you didn't look down, so to speak? You just keep walking?
Yep. Good stuff happened on a regular enough basis that, every once in a while I'd say, I'm thinking of giving this up. But mostly I was trying to get laid and sympathy, but I never actually did. And I'm one of those lucky actors. My favorite part of this is when everybody gets quiet and it's my turn to talk. I just love that moment. I'm not crazy about the business or career stuff. The biz of the biz, but I really like acting.
You said something, and I don't know if you said it. Someone told me you said this to them. You said, when you see an actor taking a long dramatic pause, most of the time they're trying to remember their lines.
I'm sorry, fellow actors, but it's true. And it's true with me too. A lot of times that deep thought is just, the fuck is that word?
But the idea that so when you say you really like it when it's your turn, do you ever judge yourself for that? Like, is that a lack of generosity on your part as an actor? Isn't the ideal of acting in the moment, in the space, feeling the scene out? But you're saying in some ways, like, no, I'm concerned about doing my part of this job.
No, the part of this job that I love, when I say that, is there's a lot of, as you well know, there's a lot of people on that set, and it's hustle and bustle. And at one point, it gets quiet and no one gets to go home until we actors do it right. And that's what I'm calling my turn.
Okay.
It's our turn.
Okay.
And this notion of imaginary circumstances, it's always been a good place for me. I really, really like it. Which is not to say I don't get nervous, I do. And which is not to say I don't get frightened, I do. But nerves and fright can sometimes debilitate you, and they don't me.
Do you think it has to do with the parts you're playing? Do you know what I mean? Like they're pretty vulnerable people in general.
They're all different kinds, you know. I've certainly played the hapless fellow who gets the shit kicked out of him, but I've played powerful people, and I played funny people and sad people. I've played bold and I've played meek. That doesn't matter. It's the whole notion of putting yourself in the imaginary circumstances and letting it go. My favorite kind of actor is the one that, the way I describe it is, he or she just doesn't give a shit. Like me, don't like me. Approve of what I'm doing or don't approve. I don't care. This is what I'm going to do. They just don't care. And it makes them bulletproof and it makes them magnificent.
So you started, I mean, not started, but a lot of your early stuff was with Mamet, right?
Right.
I've read a bunch of his books. He has a very outside-in approach to acting, right? It seems to be just appear that you're experiencing the thing that I need you to experience. It's not, he doesn't seem to care about process at all.
No, he does. And he's the smartest guy I've ever met when it comes to technique.
Please tell me about that, because that wasn't my understanding.
I met him at Goddard College, a little hippie school up in Vermont that sadly no longer exists. But there were no rules, no tests, no grades, no nothing. It was the height of the hippie educational movement. And Dave had just gone to the neighborhood playhouse for a year, wasn't invited back, came back to Goddard where he had graduated and started teaching essentially the Meisner technique, which is, Stanislavski method. And he put his stamp on it. So he's big on technique, but his technique is about, in order, what is the playwright trying to say? What is the task? What is your task according to the playwright? And to translate that into something that you can do in real time in front of people, and you can succeed at it or fail at it. It's specific, and it takes a bit of time to analyze these scripts, a la his technique. What you're referring to is that he freed us all up of feeling anything, which is genius. You don't have to believe it. And it couldn't matter less, because the reality of storytelling is that the audience wants to jump in, and they only won't jump in and have an experience if you give them reasons not to. And so put a crown on me and a cloak and put me on a throne and announce me as the king. I'm the king. I don't have to think like a king. I don't have to feel like a king. I don't have to convince the audience, that I'm a king. I'm the king. The most important question is, what are you going to do? So if you feel like I'm the king, would you say that his method is your method, or was that just? Absolutely.
Okay. So you sort of assume there's going to be a buy-in from the audience.
Yeah. They got in their cars and came there. Sometimes they spent a whole lot of money on the ticket. They want it to be good, and they want to believe, and they want to have an experience. They want to suspend all their disbelief and go on a wild ride.
And so they kind of do some of the heavy lifting with you, and
a whole lot.
Yeah,
a whole lot. You're a comedian. The best jokes are the ones that have the fewest words possible, so that you give them absolutely everything. I
can't get over it.
I know. You just give your listener, your audience, every single thing they need, and not a syllable more. That's the best joke. And so you spend your time, how does the king feel? How would the king dress? It's wasted energy.
Do you find if you're working with somebody else and you can tell they're doing that? Do you just stay out, just like, you know what, Bill, that's their process. Let's just do the scene.
I do now. I was a jerk when I was a young actor. I was a jerk. And, we're going to talk about blocks to creativity. And one of the blocks I had was I worried about everyone's job, and it made me mad when I didn't think they were doing a good job. And with maturity, if I may.
Please, no, because I still suffer from this. It's a hard thing not to meddle.
I know, but it's not our job. And I did 11 years on Shameless, and that's where I really learned how to act. I had a lot of theories, but the thing about Shameless was that it ran 11 years. So if you blew that scene, there's another scene coming. Calm down. And if you blew the whole episode, there's another episode coming. And if you blew the whole year, also you just get exhausted. And I realized if I'm worried about my fellow actor and that he or she isn't doing a good job, dollars to donuts, I'm not doing a good job because my energy is being wasted on something I have no control over.
The speed is probably a little faster too,
it's
right?
It's a blessing. It's just a blessing.
The amount of scenes you're shooting in a day.
Because it's your first impulses always, which are the best.
Yeah.
I think one of the hardest things in acting, truly, is knowing when to quit. You do the moment, and if it's full and it's there, stop. Don't try to do it better. There was a great moment. The Shameless style of shooting was we had 2 camera crews all the time. And we called it Shameless shooting, but they would shoot each other sometimes because there'd be a 3-page scene and it starts in the kitchen and it goes upstairs and then back down and then into the living room. We'd do them all as one. And the poor camera crews were racing ahead, racing to keep, and I'd hear the guys, the camera guys go, I'm tired of shooting him. I'm going to shoot her. Okay, you shoot her. I'm going to take him. And the director is just sitting there going, okay, as opposed to the curated thing, that's off the shot list. And so when it's your scene, there's this moment, and there's a close-up there. Here's the punchline. Here's the moment. And in the 3rd episode of the first season, I went to the DP and I said, when are we going to get to my moment? And he said, what moment? And I said, this, when I say that. And he said, oh, dude, you're done. That was the second shot. And it was liberating.
Oh, great.
Because
immediately, or were you pissed and then it was liberating?
No. It was one of those cadoing moments where I saw reality because I was intimately aware that you do the scene, and if it just breaks out this way, that everyone shoots their stuff first and you're last, when you get to that moment, you've done it a dozen times for other people's coverage, and because it's your close-up, I'm going to do it a little better.
Right.
It's a recipe for disaster. You can't do it better. Just keep doing it. There's no right, there's no wrong. There's only full. I don't know what it is, but change it up every time and just do what's required and don't try to add to it.
Are there any, can you think of any anecdotes where you were sort of worried about somebody else's business or coverage or just in a movie or whatever, and then you're like, you realize like, fucking just do your job, Bill?
Yeah, the first half of my career. I was just an angry artist and pissed off all the time, and it just didn't help. I mean, and we've all had this experience. Somebody's on the set and you go, he's not doing anything, man. That is flat. God, every time the scene comes to him, the lines come to him, this thing just deflates. And then you see the cut, you see the movie, and he's great.
Yeah.
He's great and
you
simple
guys all
and
seem like
direct.
you're overdoing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what do you consider the first and second half of your career? Because you had a lot of, I mean, you got nominated for Academy Award in 1996.
Mm-hmm.
Were you any good at acting then?
I think I have a certain talent for it, and that's God-given. In terms of technique, I would say Shameless changed everything because I got my 10,000 hours in.
Yeah.
And I just left a couple of those suitcases at home. Did
it become easier to be you as a person?
Yeah. Oh, you mean off?
Yeah, like if you're an angry artist all the time, were you, or at least at work? What were you like that in your regular life?
That's a question for the family, but I'm pretty sure they would say, yeah, he calmed down a whole lot.
You took yourself very seriously.
Very seriously.
And then it
just doesn't help. Okay, you want an anecdote? At a certain point, when Saturday Night Live hit, television just descended on it, and all the comedians got TV shows. And it's still going on that we make the movie around a comedian. And I swear, when I see a film, I can tell where the script ends and where they ad-lib. I can just tell you I'd put serious money on it because it's really funny. And then their ad-libs sometimes ruin the scene.
Yeah,
because
or
they're putting a hat on a hat on a hat.
Tangential, yeah.
And because it screws with the rhythm of the thing. You did that joke, move on. You don't have to do it 3 times. There are exceptions to everything. But this is another Davism. It's not an actor's job to be funny. It's the writer's job to be funny. I think an actor has to know what's funny and know something about comedy and timing, but I'm not sure you can teach that. Some people just get it and some people don't, and that's up to the gods. But Lord help us from funny acting. Ugh, I can't abide it.
It's so funny. I've never heard an actor's point of view on that. I've never, because everyone I know is a comedian. So, and I also, and I've had I've made movies, like I've had friends ad lib entire performances that ended up being great.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm with you. I'm more like, let's write it well. And then maybe there's a little improv here and there. But I agree with you in that, like, I'll watch certain movies and be like, this is bullshit.
I used to write a lot of movies of the week with my friend who also studied with David, Stephen Schachter, and we got in a groove. We did over a dozen of them, and it was lovely. But we'd write them together, he'd direct them, and as my star rose, I would start playing the lead role. And one time
in the late 70s, early 80s?
This would be out here. This is 90s.
Okay.
Yeah. When they were called movies of the week.
Yes.
And it was usually an hour and a half, a special. And we were doing one, and there was this actress who was just ad-libbing up a storm. I'm in the scene with her. And I went to the first and I said, she knows I wrote this, right? And she was just chattering away. You never knew when your cue was coming because she'd never shut up. And just funny jokes she would slaughter by using different words and stuff like that. And I finally went up to her and I said, you're pretty funny. She said, thank you. And I said, yeah, you should write a script. And she said, it's funny you would say that. I'm thinking about it. And I said, no, what I'm saying is, I wrote this script. Shut the fuck up.
Congratulations.
When you're number one on the call sheet, you can do that stuff.
I have a similar story doing a sketch on Chappelle Show, which I did with Dave.
Genius.
Thank you. We're doing a scene, Dave and an actress. The actress is ad-libbing. And I just like quickly yell cut. And I'm like, hey, I need you to say do that. And she goes, I'm an actress. I can say whatever I want. And she looks at Dave like, right? And Dave literally goes, lady, you just said that to the worst person on earth.
Good
yeah,
for
it's
you.
like, well, if we wrote it, certain people go ahead and ad lib. I'm with you. If you're so there wasn't more. I would think the Boogie Nights and Magnolia had improv. It seemed a little improv, not
much. I mean,
okay.
Paul is a magnificent director, and he's so attuned to what's happening on the set. And if he sees something he likes, he'll say, "Do more of that." But he writes great scripts,
and they're pretty loose, meaning it's there. But there's room if there's
nope. He writes good scripts. You've got to be pretty good to come up with a better line than he wrote. Dave's the same way. Dave Mamet, you would think, probably greatest writer of our generation. You would think he would be precious about his lines, but he's not at all. I've heard him say, "Well, you keep saying it wrong. I must have wrote it wrong," and then he would change it.
Does he go away and change it, or he works it out with you?
He's fast. When you're doing plays, it's fabulous to see Dave. You see him out in the house there, and he puts his hands over his ears, and you can see him. He thinks of it, and then he counts it out. There's rhythm in everything he does. It's iambic pentameter mostly. But I adore his writing. It's really difficult, really hard to learn. And sometimes it's hard to discern what he's saying because he doesn't give you, he writes it like people speak. And just as we've all had conversations where you're not sure what the other guy's saying, he does that.
And is he taskmaster in terms of like,
no,
he's cool with it? Like
most of the films I've done, he spends as much energy on the gag reel and jokes as he does on the script. State and Main's got a joke that became a staple in like big comedy, which is
That Just Happened.
So that happened.
Well, that just happened. Yes, that was on set. He came up with that on set.
That's the first time. I've talked to other comedians and writers about it. Like that's the first time anyone ever said that.
Oh yeah,
in entertainment. And then Will Ferrell said it.
That just happened.
And like a bunch of people said it in other movies, but it's like, that's
where it
Mamet.
came from. I think some scholar someday will come up with half a book of things that Dave came up with that have moved into our vocabularies.
Always be closing.
I want you to find this Nancy boy, Elliot Ness. I want him dead. I want his family dead. I want his house burnt to the ground.
Look, I got a pair of the perfect jeans, and I even sent them back for a better fit. It's a very good jean. Most jeans, they don't have enough different fits. I don't know what's wrong with my legs or body. It's not normal, so I need certain... I'm kind of lanky, but I don't know what's going on. Perfect Jean has been perfect, right? That's how you want it, right? They have more size options than any other website I've ever been on. And it's super seamless, and the return was great. And Will, show them the photo. I mean, look at my butt. My girl said my butt looks great the other day. I've been doing squats for 7 years. It's finally paying off. You know what I like about them? They're stretchy. They're not like leggings, like jeggings. Remember jeggings? Where they're jean leggings and whatever. These are like they're the new material. Everything's stretchy now in a way that I love. I'm an old man. We didn't used to have stretch like this. They're soft and stretchy. I can like bend down. I can do my lunges. You know how I do my lunges. I read if you do like 8 lunges once an hour, it's better. It's one of these things that's like better than running marathons. One of those new stats where you're like, what? The Perfect Jean has 6 fits, a size range from 26 to 50-inch waist, and lengths up to 38, giving you 5,000 plus ways to find your perfect match. Here's the call to action. For a limited time, our listeners get 15% off their first order plus free shipping at theperfectjean.nyc or Google The Perfect Jean and use code NEAL15, NEAL15 for 15% off. That's 15% off to new customers at theperfectjean.nyc with promo code NEAL15. After you purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Fuck your khakis and get the Perfect Jean. Fuck them. I'm so mad at your khakis. Fuck them. Perfectjean.nyc. Mando, they're back. I like it. You know I like Mount Fuji. You know I'm wearing it. I use it on my pits. I'm just doing my pits. I've done my stomach a couple times. My sweat, the way I sweat's different. The older you get, it kind of shifts. I also stopped taking antidepressants. I used to drench my mattress. I would sweat so much in my sleep. So Mando's a whole body deodorant, safe to use anywhere on your body. Pits, thigh folds, belly buttons, anywhere, literally anywhere. Think of it, name it, Mando it. Created by a doctor who saw firsthand how normal BO was being misdiagnosed and mistreated. It's clinically proven to block odor all day and control odor for up to 72 hours. Want to try America's #1 whole body deodorant formula right now? You can now find them in Walmart, Target. That's where I saw them. I was happy for them. You didn't think you'd be proud of a deodorant brand. I kind of am proud. And other retailers across the country. But for the best deals, go to shopmando.com. Mando's starter pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice like mini body wash and deodorant wipes. I've used them. I used deodorant wipes 3 days ago, and free shipping. As a special offer for listeners, new customers get $5 off a starter pack with our exclusive code that equates to over 40% off your starter pack. Use code NEAL at shopmando, shopmando.com. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Smell fresher, stay drier, and boost your confidence from head to toe with Mando. Proud of you. So, okay, well, what was it, without looking back, how was it, what's it like to be you minute to minute?
I waste a lot of time. It takes me a long time to get going. I think that's the other reason.
You're a procrastinator?
I'm a procrastinator. That's another reason it's a really good thing that I became an actor, because, they tell you where to be, what time, what to do. It's all prescribed, and that's good for me. I tried directing, and I've tried writing and producing, and that is not my sweet spot at all.
Too much busy work, too much calendar, admin.
It's too big. An actor's job is really the moment. This one thing that I'm about to say. And when you do that, you do the next moment. You just go moment to moment. It's almost the definition of great acting. Just go moment to moment. And that's where I live. That's good for me.
Is just not just head down.
Head down. What do you see? Say something about it.
And when did you realize that in life?
It's been a slow realization. I'm pretty sure every actor thinks, I could write.
Yeah.
I could direct. I could produce. Well, I tried them all.
And you're significantly better at acting than the rest of it.
Yeah. When I started directing, I did about 4 little features, and the producers would always say 2 things. One, oh my God, you'll be so great with the actors. And I wasn't. I found them very frustrating and crazy as loons. And
that's interesting. Did you assume you'd like it, and then you were like, "Oh fuck, this is a pain in the ass"?
Yes, it was such an eye opener to see how insane we are.
And you consider it wasn't like they were different than you. They were you just never had to deal with yourself. Great.
Yeah. Although,
how were you insane? Do you know what I mean? Like when you think about it, when you say that, what are you thinking of?
Well, let me answer it by saying, why does a director think they're insane? It's because the actor will come up and say, I was thinking that my journey will make my mustache go blah, 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 blah. And you're standing there, and what you're thinking is, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, but it's about to rain. And if we don't get this shot, we're screwed.
Yeah.
I can't talk about your mustache anymore.
Yep.
They just are so self-absorbed. And glorious so. That's
the job. They're doing their job.
They're doing their job, yeah. I always say to directors, listen, and I got this from Dave, listen, you can't listen to the actors about the script, because it's an actor's job to fall in love with his character. And so anything that makes your character look bad or makes you uncomfortable about your character, you're going to say, I don't think this is appropriate. I think we should change this line. What if and so if you listen to the actor, they'll take all the drama out of the script. I say, so you cannot listen to the actors except me.
Yeah.
Now I have some notes.
Yeah. Mamet strikes me as the kind of guy who was like, no, I'm way ahead of you. I've figured that out.
I heard an actor come up to Dave and said, I'm really uncomfortable about this moment. And Dave said, you are? I'm so happy for you, and walked away. And Dave's right. You're not supposed to be uncomfortable.
Yeah,
you can't be comfortable.
We're not making a piece glorifying you.
No, you've got two forces, and one of them's going to win. It's got to be uncomfortable. That's why they call it drama.
Yep. And what do you think that you're best at? Do you think that you get, if you're best at acting versus writing, directing, producing, what sort of acting are you best at, or what sort of character, or do you have a preference?
I seem to put humor in everything I do, even the straight ahead dramas. It's the Mike Nichols rule. If you want people to cry, tell a joke first, and if you want people to laugh, do something sad. It's the whipsawing our emotions. I like comedies. I think we need to laugh these days. But really, I like it all. I like it all.
Yeah. You just like doing the job.
Yeah. I'm a Lutheran from Western Maryland, something of a coward. So when it comes to the heavy, tragic dramas, I have to be goaded a little bit to go there. I don't
to be interested in it to do it, to literally to take the part.
Sometimes to do it, and then as I'm doing it, to go deeper. And that's hard to say to an actor, but I married well. And Felicity, a couple of times, has said, I think you need to go a little deeper. I would skim across the top.
When would she say that?
After she saw me do some scene.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, Felicity and I talk about our work. We talk with each other, and we read each other's scripts. We give each other's notes. I don't recommend it.
Yeah, I was going to say, how's that going?
Yeah, but for some reason, it's the basis of our relationship. We met on stage, and we love acting, and we love technique, and we love art, and we love the theater and movies, and we talk about it.
You
all
mentioned
the time.
being Lutheran. Do you think it's a core? Do you think that stuff? I kind of am of the mind, like, I was raised Catholic, and it's like, and at certain points I was an atheist, and it's like, but I was always Catholic. I'm still Catholic. You know what I mean? Like, it's a bit like being Irish. Like, this is just kind of the frame.
Yeah. Yes.
How's it affect you? How's it affect your habits?
My father's people were all Yankees. My grandfather was a Quaker, so emotions are sort of foreign to me. One time, my mom said something at the dinner table, and my father said something sharp back, and she said something sharp to him, and my father went, well. And after dinner, my brother and I said, oh my God, did you see Dad blow? Man, I've never seen that before. Oh, wow. Those were fireworks around my table. Well.
And but yet it becoming an actor felt natural.
It did. I think just as you're Catholic, my Yankee non-emotional thing holds me in good stead because it's my go-to position, which I think is a smart one. If you don't know what to do, don't do anything. And because that's something.
Well, that's probably also the more common human reaction.
Yeah.
Which is underdoing it.
So when I have something where I've got to go for it, it's big, it's explosive, it's emotional. It's such foreign territory for me. It's thrilling. And
oh, you probably don't even know what's going to happen.
No.
Because you've never done it as Bill.
Yeah, you uncork that bottle, and it's sometimes scary what comes out.
You're aging well.
Oh, thank you.
You're 70.
About to turn 75. Going on 75, as the kids say.
You look good, man.
Thank you. I feel good. Had the same trainer for 25 years. Kirsten Hultgreen, she's a genius. She goes to school every year, so as her clientele has grown older, she's educated herself as to what we need, and so.
How do you feel about? Were you worried about it?
My health?
Well, I'm no, because your looks. I think it's how an actor looks is to the Mamet point. It's like a lot of the job is like, how does this person appear? Were you concerned about age? I guess it's different for men than women, but were you
hugely different?
Were you concerned about it? What was your approach?
Well, I've always been a character actor, and it didn't really matter. Other people will do it. You know, if you look right for the role, they'll cast you. If you don't, they won't. So I always abided in their decision. If they want me to do it, I look right.
Who were you competitive with? Were you as an actor? Were there certain 2 or 3 guys that you kept losing shit to?
Yes. At the beginning, more than now, I think, because guys my age, it's been weeded out, so there are just a couple of us, and I think there's room for everybody. But yeah, at the beginning, I used to do commercials to try to keep the wolf away, and it's same guys, same 10 guys over and over again.
Yeah, well, yeah, for sure. But does that then happen when you're nominated for an Academy Award and you're up for you're like capital Bill Macy?
Well, most guys my age are singular by now. They've lasted, and
they have a brand.
They have a brand.
Did you and I would put you in that category?
Yeah, I never thought about what my brand is. Nor do I want to.
Well, it's interesting. Sitting with you, I'm like, you were in The Cooler too, weren't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like you've done a lot of shit, man.
I'm a lucky guy.
Like I'm like, Jesus, this is a guy from. I forgot you were in The Cooler. There's another great sort of singular weird movie.
Maria Bello was so good in that. Yeah, I thought after Fargo I was going to be the hapless guy because I'd done that on stage a good bit, and but it didn't happen. I played powerful people too.
And okay, so the looks thing, you didn't worry about it for how is it dealing with your wife's an actress? Do you have to sort of how do you because it is significantly worse for women, and how do you guys broach that?
I think for women it's a struggle always. It's I think there's nothing more powerful than a beautiful young woman. I mean, the world bows down to them. And
changes the energy in a room.
Totally.
Civilizing.
Even more than a beautiful man. It happens with men too.
Minimum, 3 times more, yeah.
But I think the rough thing is in their lives too, when they have to say goodbye to the maidenhood, when they have to say goodbye to the young, bright thing, and they go to motherhood and middle age, and but I think Felicity's been really good at embracing where she is. I mean, there's a great story about Desperate Housewives when she had to read for that, and when she went to meet Mark Cherry, we had two kids in diapers, and she took some time to put herself together and wash her hair and do everything. And when she got the role, Mark said, it's just, you came in and you were such a mess, such a typical mom, with your hair and there was stuff on your, and that's her putting herself together.
Yeah.
So she's embraced it.
This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. Hey, who's your support system and how have they changed your life? Sometimes you don't got a support system. We're more and more isolated. We've backed ourselves into corners about who we pretended to be. And sometimes your therapist is like your support system. Me and therapy, synonymous. I had therapy this week, guys. I'm back in. I go in and out, and it was helpful. We actually argued a lot, which, can you believe it? Me arguing with a therapist. I've been in therapy a ton. I'm no longer dealing with my trauma. I'm just dealing with regular stuff, work, lady, family, etc. It's helped me make boundaries. It's helped me enforce boundaries. Therapy's great, and BetterHelp is a great entrance into it. BetterHelp is fully online, making therapy affordable and convenient, serving over 5 million people worldwide. Here's the call to action. Build your support system with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/NEAL, BetterHelp.com/Neal today to get 10% off your first month. BetterHelp.com/NEAL for 10% off your first month. BetterHelp. Thanks, BetterHelp. Hey, I'm always on the lookout for wallets. Thing you don't know about me, I like wallets, I like razors, and I like vacuums. I don't buy any, really, I mean, I buy whatever, but I just like looking at them. I don't know why. We got a sponsor, and it's Ridge Wallet, and I've had it for a couple days. This is it. Usually I'm like what you'd call like a Costanza wallet kind of guy. You know, the old taped up. I got a lot of reward membership programs. Most of my wallets have looked like they had a tumor of some kind. They weren't morbidly obese, but they were like the kind of 65-year-old guy with the giant pot belly. That's kind of, and then Ridge came along, and this is it. I got everything in here. I don't understand why I haven't had a wallet like this for my whole life. It was time for an upgrade, and I made the upgrade. This is the Ridge wallet. It's the sleek minimalist wallet that's, quite frankly, changing the game. Ridge wallets are extremely thin, yet can securely hold up to 12 cards plus cash. I have cash loose if you ever want to rob me. Made from premium, high-performance materials like carbon fiber, titanium, and stainless steel, Ridge wallets are built to last. In fact, they come with a lifetime warranty, meaning this is the last wallet you're ever going to need to buy. Next stop is a chip in your head. This is the last one. Here's the call to action. Right now, Ridge is having their once-a-year anniversary sale. Get up to 40% off at ridge.com/NEAL. Just head to ridge.com to see their biggest sale of the year. After you purchase, they will ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them my show sent you. Ridge.com/NEAL. I'm NEAL. Get a Ridge wallet. I did. You were sort of a late father?
50 years old when I had kids.
And did it make a difference?
Yes, I did the typical thing of, as soon as we had a kid, I went, oh my God, money, 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 money. And I took everything. I took every single job that came along. And I was at a hot point in my career. And Felicity's still pissed off that I was gone so much when the kids were very young. I don't know. All's well that ends well. My daughters are such fine women. I'm just, I have to credit Felicity, who's an astounding mom, a complicated mom too, and a working mom. So they got the best of everything.
When you say complicated mom, what kind of parent are you? And when you say complicated mom, I would assume you're a complicated dad, or no?
No, I'm pretty simple. I've been a little distant because I have few close friendships. She, on the other hand, has very close friendships and is great at keeping friendships alive. And motherhood was so complicated for her, and she was very candid about it. She had a blog talking about, there are some women that have children and they relax. They think this is all they wanted in their lives, and they're telling the truth. And there are the vast majority of women who feel like they just got hit by a truck, that nobody told them it was going to be this hard. And no matter how much you say, it's not forever, it's only for the next 20 years.
Impossible to believe that in any circumstance.
And she was a hands-on mom.
But not Pollyanna-ish, not like this is what I always wanted, or this is what I always wanted. It's just way harder than I wanted.
Yes, it's way harder. And angry with the lack of support, both societal and also in the child rearing business, pediatricians and all, people. Basically, there was a lot of pressure the way she describes it, there was a lot of pressure to love it.
Yeah.
And she didn't love it. She loved the daughters, but she found
punishing.
it to be,
it's relentless. I don't have a kid, but my girlfriend has a 4-year-old, and I'm the youngest of 10, and I used to slag my parents and all this stuff. And I've literally apologized to my mom in the last few months.
Yeah.
I'm like, I had no idea what it was like. Did it change your opinion about your parents? Did it change your feeling about life in general? Like, oh, this is a huge shift.
Yeah. Well, I feel like when you have a baby, you should get, like civilized countries do, they should get
time off.
2 months, 4 months, 6 months paid leave.
Yeah.
There should be a department of babysitters to help cut the costs down.
Agree.
I mean, what could be more important than raising your children? And we don't spend a lot of energy and time on it as a society.
Yeah.
We just leave it to the moms.
Totally agreed.
I took my kids skiing one time. I said, I'm going to take Sophia and Georgia skiing. They were 8 and 10 or 7 and 9, something like that. And she said, "You are?" And I said, "Yeah, I can do it. I've seen you do it." Oh my God. I wrote a thing about it. It was a disaster. It was such a disaster.
Could it not
be? How could it not be?
One person, one man,
person, 2 kids. Yeah.
Who doesn't do it that often.
First time, I learned from the best. And so just like Felicity did, we set up their clothes the night before. I laid them all out on the floor.
Sure.
I got up early, gave them breakfast. We got to the mountain. When we finally got in the car, they said, "I'm hungry." And I looked at the clock. We'd started at 8 a.m. I had to pull back into the driveway and give them lunch. We got to the mountain with about enough time to do 2 runs.
Yeah. And was that easy?
No, they were mad at me. I was mad at them. They're still mad at me about that. Apparently I called them numbnuts. They were fighting in the back, and I said, "Will you numbnuts shut up?" They were mad, and I finally said, "Okay, your mom wouldn't have done that, right?" And she said, "No." I said, "Would they have what would she have done?" And they said, "She would have figured out how to stop fighting." I said, "Well, that's not going to happen with me because your fights are so boring. I don't know. I'm sorry. I just find it boring." I was a little too honest with my kids.
Was that a common thing?
Being too honest? Yeah. Yeah. Sophia one time came in and she was despondent. She said, I have so much homework. I have all this homework. I can't get it done. And when I get it done, then there's another day. And I said, "Honey, get used to it. This is life. It's not going to get better." And she said, "Why would you say that to me? Why would you say that?" So I thought, okay. And I took her over and we took a long walk and we talked about life and we talked about this. And I said, "Listen, I'll write you a note. Go back, do an hour of homework, and I'll write and say you got sick. I'll get you out of school, or I'll write you an excuse." She said, "Thank you, thank you." She went into her room for 30 minutes. She came out and she said, "It's done." I said, "No, do it all." She said, "I did it all."
You think it was just reframing it for her?
I think she lost her shit, and she had 30 minutes worth of homework to do, and she described it as 4 hours and this treadmill. And I was smart enough not to say anything, but
you strike me as a guy that's probably too honest fairly often.
Yeah, I'm blunt.
Do you think that had an effect on the amount of friends you have?
I'm sure I've said things that cost me a friendship. They just drift away. But
yeah, what do you think people say about you? Like, what do you think your people that don't like you say about you?
I don't know. I'm on social media, but I never read what anyone says.
I don't mean like audience. I mean like people you know.
Yeah, I've heard it. I've heard that I'm really rough and I don't fight fair. And early on, every once in a while I'd come back. My good friend Greg Mosher, who ran the Goodman in Chicago and then Lincoln Center, innocently said, "Billy, I figured out why directors find you so difficult to work with. And I don't know what he said after that because my ears were ringing. I had no idea that was my reputation, but it was. The aforementioned doing everybody's job except my own, it was that.
Do you think there's something honorable about it?
No.
Okay, so you're just like, no, these are character flaws and full stop.
Well, I guess I'm not being honest. No. There's a big thing in my family. We talk about this. If you got to say, you're fired, how do you do it? And the female way, perhaps, certainly the women I know begin with, hi, how you doing? Yeah, how the kids? Listen, we've been to, and I say, that's not the way to do it. You say, hi, you're fired. And then you do the nice stuff. Lead with the hard thing. Because everybody knows they're being played. How are you? You look good. You lost weight, didn't you? Listen, we've been thinking about, and it's not you. We've been thinking about. They know they're being played, and I find it personally outrageous. I would much prefer, hey, we're going to fire you, and here's why, and then get all the good stuff, and maybe then I can hear it, and maybe even believe some of it.
I think I'm with you, but I don't want the second part. Just go, I'm fired. I go, okay. It's like, people, it's when you break up with somebody, you go, we're going to still be friends. Like, no, you're not. This is over. I may never see you again. Isn't that fucking weird?
No. It's when they say, it's not you. It's me.
Yeah.
You know you're fucked.
Yeah, it's you. I almost feel like that runs counter to your story about your daughter. Meaning, it may run counter to your story about your daughter, meaning you were pretty empathetic.
I was. After the fact, after I told her, this is your life, babe, get used to it.
Yeah. Do you think that what did she take from it? Did she take that life is hard and continuous?
It's a great question. And it's ongoing. I think Felicity and I are good parents because I'm not good with empathy, and I'm not good with blanketing people with unconditional love, when they're hurting. She is perfect at that and knows intuitively what to say. On the other hand, there are times in parenting, I think, where you got to go, hold on, you're flying in the face of reality. And I'm not going to support it because I love you. And it ain't going to work. It won't work now. It won't work in the future. It's never worked in the past. I'm the reality guy.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to be simplistic about it, but that kind of seems like masculine, feminine, or
it is
father, mother. And maybe it's the natural order of things. The last 20 years would say it's unnatural, but it may be that, but I find that's kind of how we have chemicals that do that.
Yeah.
And they have chemicals that do empathy.
We were very assiduous about the screeners this year for the voting for the Academy Awards, all the award shows. So I watched all the movies, and there were 4 or 5 of them. You're going to ask me to name them, and I can't. That were about mother-daughter relationships. And oh Lord, they just slew me. It's so beautiful. I think, I've heard guys in war, when they get killed, the last thing they do is scream for their moms.
Mm-hmm.
The mother-daughter relationship is so complicated. Sons and mothers is complicated too, but at least I can understand that when I can see it. But they're so complicated, and mothers they're magical.
Yeah. I always have the thought that like women face significantly more oppression than men, and in general it seems worse, but they have such a rich emotional portfolio that it's like, this is even.
Yes.
I kind of feel that way. Like, no, this is about even. Like, you guys get so much. We have like muscles and all that, but like what you guys have is I don't think it's. I think it's pretty compensatory.
Yes.
All right, I want to go. Let's just do a speed round very quickly.
Okay.
Fargo. Any thoughts?
I saw it recently in a theater with people. It's a brilliant movie. Everybody is so good in it.
It had been 30 years you hadn't seen it? Were you scared to watch it?
A little trepidatious. There were scenes that I remembered that I thought, oof, I wish I had done that differently. During the strike, there was a thing where they would say, we'll pay you to do a little tour.
Yeah.
We'll screen the film, you do a Q&A. Seemed like a good idea when no one was working.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out 10 times the money wouldn't have been enough. It was rough.
What was rough about it? It's just
traveling and talking to people. I'm not good at that.
Yep.
And but I was knocked out by the film. It's a great film. I'm so proud. Changed my life. Absolutely.
Yeah. Hard to get?
I worked hard at it. All those stories about me going back and back and back are true.
And then it's one of those things that is absolutely worth it.
Oh, yes. I have a little cabin in Vermont, and I was there. It was in January when I got the call. It was wicked cold outside, and it's a tiny little cabin. It's about the size of this room. And I didn't have a girlfriend or anything, and I got the phone call. I got Fargo, and I had nothing else to do except put on all the coats I had and go outside and scream. I was just running around the property in the deep snow screaming.
And it wasn't like destined to be, you know what I mean? It wasn't like, other than it was good material, but it wasn't like, well, the Coen brothers, everything they do is a hit. That was kind of their first, like they'd done indie stuff that was popular, but this was like their first big.
I flatter myself that I'm pretty good at reading scripts. And if I'm going to be honest, I knew it was going to be huge. Absolutely had no doubts. It was Joel and Ethan. They had enough money to make it. It was the role of the century. I absolutely understood it, every nuance. I was ready to act it after the first reading.
Awesome. Boogie Nights.
He's such fun to work with. I got the script. I was working elsewhere. I got the script, which was much racier than the final film. And I thought I was being punked because it was a porn script. There was racy stuff in there. And I called my agent and said, is this a joke? And they said, no, they're making it. It's got to be R-rated. That's in the contract. I hope Paul doesn't take offense at this, but I wanted it so much when I realized it's a great role. All the roles were great, a great story. And so I met with him at the Formosa Cafe, and I had prepared my pitch of why it should be me, the through line of the character, what I think you're trying to get at, and all this stuff. And Paul started talking, and I couldn't get a word in edgewise. He was telling me he was going to shoot it, and at a point I realized, oh my God, I've got the role. He's auditioning. He wasn't sure I was going to take it. It's the first time in my career it had ever happened. And I remember, this is a visual, but I remember going, okay, tell me more. I sat back and I thought, I love this position.
Yeah, it's better.
The set was so much fun. Bert was a jerk, but there you go. And but that cast, those people, they're the best of the best. I long
and it's
to
kind of
act
Mammoty.
Very Mammoty.
Yeah.
But completely original also.
You, Ricky.
Oh, Ricky J, rest in peace. And Phil Hoffman.
Yep.
He was the best of us, boy. That guy. What a tragedy.
Okay. You're a great actor. Everyone says Phil's the best, or, he's on the list. Why? As a fan of, like, what is it as an actor that you go, fuck, that guy's good?
He has just abundant loads of talent, just raw talent. As a mimic, as anything you want. I mean, he's
physically he can do it. Yeah. Okay.
The aforementioned, he don't give a shit.
Yep.
He's going to do what he's going to do. You can think whatever you want, but he's so self-assured. Even when he did Capote. It was without looking down.
Yeah.
And
it's not right, because a lot of times when I think about quality, I think about like, can they do rewrites quickly?
Wow.
Do you think he could do that, or is it just he can take the text and crush it?
He can take the text and crush it. I did Magnolia and Boogie Nights with him, and I have no memory of him saying, could it be this, could you change this line or whatever? Nope, he took what he had and he just made it great. Also, his emotional life just showed. If he felt it, you could see it on his face. He's just one of those lucky actors that is a raw nerve.
And you think that it's not a blessing in life?
Probably not, no.
But it's one of the, as an actor, you go, man,
Yeah.
Have you ever tried to get rawer?
And
I don't even know how you would approach that. Like, I'm asking that as like, is that a thing a person could do?
I think so. As I said, sometimes I need to go deeper, find where it touches me and go there a little bit and access some of my pain a little bit more. But also, I think for a long time I was a dutiful actor, and maybe it's because Dave was my teacher and he's the greatest writer of our time. So I would dutifully learn the lines and I was slavish to them. And not everybody writes like Dave. So there were some scripts, and it's ad-libbing after a fashion, but it's just rounding it out. I was so precise with the script, and I don't know if that fits the definition of raw, but perhaps it's more realistic, make it a little more ragged around the edges and realistic. Like
you get that?
Really.
Do you do that by kind of thinking and trying to embody something?
Well, my technique is you don't have to feel anything. That will happen whether you want it to or not, including those times when you think you feel nothing. It's not nothing. And like Phil Hoffman, there's no such thing as nothing with him. There's just so much going on. And the camera is really good at finding it. And if you've got talent at this, it just comes out, irrespective of your efforts to keep it bottled up. I figure out what the character wants, which is one question. This is what Dave Mamet brought to it. There's a difference between what the character wants and is doing than what the actor is doing. They're very similar, but they're not the same. And one of them requires belief and the other one doesn't. And one of them you need the script to win or lose, and the other one you don't. You don't need a set, you don't need a camera, you don't need anything. So, Hamlet's saying to his guys, swear to me you won't say that you saw this ghost. And he keeps saying, swear, swear, swear. And the notion is to translate that into something that you can do, you and me, if you're one of the soldiers, you and me can do it right here, to say it's as if you're not saving the kingdom. That's all imaginary. It's as if, and you come up with something concomitant so that you understand the nature of swearing. It's like, don't tell my girlfriend, it's not that. It's very important. You come up with something, and that's what you're getting a pledge, let's say. And the difference, I'm not explaining this well, but the difference is if you have an action that you can accomplish without preparation and without props, then you'll know when you've done it. And conversely, you'll know when you haven't done it. And the only way to know the difference of the two is for me to watch you like a hawk and measure you. And everything I do depends on what you do, which is the essence of acting. I want this, you want that, and I'm measuring you to figure out how to outsmart you, how to say this line. Well, what do you want? That's why the whole thing about looking like a doctor or acting like a king, it's what's a doctor? It's undefinable.
Yeah.
Some of them are Lotharios, and some of them are jerks, and some of them are ugly, and some of them are beautiful, and some of them, they're anything. You go to med school, that's what makes a doctor.
Are you interested in sociology as a function of the job, or anyway?
So. I think so. Those truths that we all hold. I once heard someone say to Mamet, well, you're lying for a living, really. That's what an actor does. I mean, it's not really your name. They're not your lines. They're the clothes on it. So you're telling lies. And Dave very quietly said, no. No, we tell the truth for a living. That's what we do. We tell the truth. And he said, but it's not your lines. And he said, yeah, that's just the play. Those are just the words. But what we do is tell the truth. That's why I love you can mean everything from fuck you to marry me. The same freaking line. It's what you want, which informs it of how you say it.
70, you're 70, you're going to be 75. That thing about what you're like, people have issues with you, wish you were nicer. Do you look back in your life and wish that there was your character had been different? Or are you pretty resigned or accepting of who you were and who you are?
I don't think anyone changes. The Catholics say you're cooked at 7. I don't think we change much. And I do know this, and other people say this. When you change, it's only when there is absolutely no alternative. When you have no choice, you can change a little bit. I think the big task of living these lives we live is accepting ourselves. I have so many regrets, and you do it too. You wake up in the middle of the night and you think what you did to that girl, that you lied to her, and you go, oh God. It's not fixable. And I think the task is to accept I can be that way. I can be that way. There's no way to make yourself so you're not that way. You can only arm yourself a little bit by knowing, well, that's my propensity. And that's the only thing.
Let's just do it less if possible.
So regrets, guilt, I don't think they're useful emotions. I try to stay away from them.
How's Felicity feel about that?
She struggles with it, and we talk about it a lot,
Because it could come across as no accountability.
It could. I think there's a difference between apologizing and regrets. I mean, regrets are, I don't know, maybe this is just the way we hold these words, but an apology is for the other person. Regrets is something you carry with you all the time. And guilt. I think this, because one thing I know about acting is that when the scene's over, you better leave it. It's a disease. You get in the car and you go, fuck, now I know how to play that scene.
Well, that must have been nice watching Fargo and being like, I was fucking pretty good.
Yeah.
All that dumb regret or second guessing. Maybe you didn't on that one, but
the point is, don't worry about stuff you can't do anything about, because I can worry myself into a coma.
Yeah. Seabiscuit, and let's do Seabiscuit and Pleasantville. Same writer, correct?
Gary Ross, fabulous director. Man, in Pleasantville, when that sign came out, no coloreds allowed, I thought that was the most sublime bit of writing I'd ever seen. For our listeners, Pleasantville is about these two kids, Tobey Maguire and Reese Witherspoon, get sucked into the TV in this 1950s show called Pleasantville, where it's black and white. And there's a glitch in the universe, and they know who they are in this imaginary world. And as they eat from the tree of knowledge, or actually they bring the knowledge with them, they start to turn colors. There's a great scene where Joan Allen is married to me, and someone mentions an orgasm, and she is flummoxed by it. And Reese Witherspoon says, Mom, don't you know about the bathtub? And it cuts to Joan in the bathtub, and she goes, oh my. And Gary cut to a tree outside, which bursts into flames.
Yeah.
Oh my.
And the kids, when they discover sex and longing and all of this stuff, they turn colors. They become color. And the whole town's up in arms. Half the town wants it black and white, and the other half says, no, let's turn color. And so a sign appears in the drugstore. No coloreds allowed.
That was a bit, you got to be Lutheran in that movie.
Yeah.
Lutheran and Pollyanna.
Yes.
Both of them, right? I mean, Seabiscuit's.
No, he's a snake, the guy in TikTok McLaughlin. Oh, Gary came and said, I got the best role for you. And it was. When I speak, and it's something that's bugged me my whole career, I have a tendency to speak slowly and with measured tones, and I put improbable, I'm doing it now, pauses that I don't understand. And that character was just rat-tat-tat.
Yeah, talk about a jump in class. This is the skunk at the garden party. Yes, he's the surprise in the punch bowl. As a matter of fact, I'll lay even money that this nag Seabiscuit couldn't even finish 6 furlongs.
Was that fun to do?
It was great fun to do. It was hard for me.
And you had sound effects?
I worked at it a lot because it was a hat trick to talk that fast and do all of that stuff. I had to really get it down.
And Shameless. That's where you figured you put it together.
We are dinosaurs, my friend, and a big fat comet is headed for our sweet slice of Earth.
Yeah, it was such a mitzvah for me because I loved those people. I was really proud to be in it because of the stories we told. I loved the shameless attitude towards sex, which is, it's just something we all do. Calm down. It was so great. And, Shameless sort of got in under the wire before we became so politically correct. And I don't like it. I was really proud to be in Ricky Stenicki because we're going back to those raunch-coms, as they call it. I think we've got to do that, especially in this day and age. We should be able to laugh about everything.
Yeah.
Tell jokes about everything. Doesn't mean you have to, but we have to be allowed to.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, it has to be an option.
Yeah.
What's the story with the Woody Creek?
So I live in Woody Creek, and Mark Kleckner, one of the founders, they were growing potatoes in our yard. And I asked my brother-in-law who lives there, and he said, yeah, I made a deal with Woody Creek Distillery that they could use that pasture to grow potatoes. And it was about a week later that Mark Kleckner came in and said, Bill, I don't know if you know this, but we have a distillery down in Basalt. I said, stop right there, Mark. I'm in. So just like almost every other actor in the country, I'm the spokesperson for Woody Creek Distillers. And I've had the best time, one, because I love spirits. I'm a big drinker. I just have always found it so romantic, especially spirits.
I'd like to double down on aging well.
Yes.
If you drink a bunch and you still look this good at 75, God bless something.
Yeah. Well, half my friends don't drink enough and the other half drink too much. So I'm straddling that fence. But I also started, the pandemic hit a month after I got the job as their spokesperson. So for that year, there was nothing to do. So I wrote a song about the Woody Creek Tavern, which is a famous tavern, Hunter S. Thompson fame. And the pandemic, and Felicity shot it on an iPhone, and we edited it and put it online, and people liked it a lot.
Come on, let me tell you a story about a spirit that shines so bright.
So I play ukulele. I used to play guitars, but I've got arthritis in my fingers, so I play ukulele a lot. And I started writing songs about 15 years ago for my daughters and my wife, birthday songs, and some of them are quite elaborate.
It's been hours since your bedtime. People have limits, and I just passed mine.
So one a year for each of them?
Yeah. I kept that going for about 4 or 5 years. And then when I got the the gig with Woody Creek Distillers, I gave up the birthdays. Now I write about alcohol. And so I write these songs, and every once in a while I perform them at the distillery or when we go selling our hooch in the various states. Sometimes I'll play a little song for them, and it's very winning. And if I do say so, the songs are really kind of good. Turns out I love writing lyrics.
That's funny. It's so it seems like it's going well for you.
Yeah. Life is sweet. I'm still working. Did a bunch of films just before Christmas. I was in this thing called...
Do you get tired of the sort of, I guess you wouldn't worry anymore, but you want to keep working. Do you get tired of the state of like looking at the phone, or is that not what it is?
No, I still worry. After Shameless, I thought I would be in some form of retirement, but turns out that was not satisfying. Also turns out I'm not as rich as I thought I was.
How'd you find that out?
The bills. No, I want to work, and I worry about it less because it doesn't help. And John Burnham is my manager, and he's magnificent, and he keeps coming up with stuff. I just did a film called Train Dreams, which is really good. It sold for a whole bunch of money at Sundance. That's going to be in, I guess, theaters soon. That was a really sweet film. And I've got my hand in. I seem to be the king of, we'll only need you for 2 days. But one of the problems is they think, oh, he's so good. It's 3 days worth of work. He can do it in 2 days.
Yeah.
And I keep saying, I'll take the money, but can I have an extra day? So I've done a bunch of films where they pack in these scenes, and it's a good role, and it changes the plot. But the worst day on a film is the first day, because you're lost. You don't know anybody. Yeah. And a lot of times they've been shooting all along, and it's a family that you're not a member of. And the next bad day on a set is the last day, because it's sad, and it's you're hoping you did well. And that's all I do is the bad days, the first and the last day.
Are you going to do it until you cannot do it anymore? Is that you think?
I guess so. As long as there are roles that blow up my skirt a little bit, I'll do it. I'm still upright, and I can still remember the lines. So I see no reason to stop.
It seems, did you expect this? Did you expect to be like, I'm going to work, I'm going to be busy when I'm 75?
I don't know if I expected it, but I wished it, and I had faith. I had faith. I'm a serendipitous. And there are some interesting roles out there for people of a certain age. It's good. I like to joke that one of the good things about getting old is when I hear the idiotic things my young friends say. It just makes me... But it's nice. I'm in a good position. I'm on every set. I'm usually the oldest guy now, but I'm the ominous grise, the old gray-haired guy, and so I get listened to and great respect, and I have gotten better at it, and so I feel like I'm doing some pretty good work.
Who am I to disagree? Bill Macy, ladies and gentlemen, the Serendipitous.
Yes, this has been lovely. Thank you.
Thanks for coming, man.